Blessings and welcome to the path to freedom in this beautiful space, this beautiful day. Every day is a beautiful day, and this day is no different. And welcome to this space of us expanding our consciousness, of us raising our vibration, of us setting ourselves free to be in ever-expanding love and joy and harmony and wholeness and beauty and abundance and all these amazing qualities, where we get to set ourselves free to continue to soar, to shine, to glow beyond imagination, where we get to continue to set ourselves free to allow for the next great and grand, and the next great and grand, and the next great and grand, an eternal allowing forever greater and grander expressions of who and what we are to emerge. More of the light, more of the love, more of the joy, more of the harmony, more of the abundance, and all of that. And in doing all of this, in setting ourselves free to all of this, we need to set ourselves free from that which is obscuring that which we are, that which is keeping us from shining, from glowing, from soaring. So we get to set ourselves free from the small, limited thought patterns and judgments and opinions and stories, from a sense perhaps of not being enough, from a sense of not having enough, from a sense of limitation, from a sense, ultimately, from a sense of separation from the good that we are and that we wish to experience. So my name is Daniel Roquillo, and as always, I'm deeply grateful and honored that you are choosing to join me here. The more the merrier. And we're always reminded that we are not necessarily doing this, or we're not, it's not even necessarily, we are not we are not doing this only for ourselves. Yes, we are doing this for ourselves, but as we are doing it for ourselves, as we're doing it within ourselves, we are assisting the midwifing of the new world to emerge. A new world where everybody gets to be safe, where everybody gets to be in joy, where everybody gets to have all of their needs met, where injustice is dissolved, where violence is dissolved, where peace reigns supreme, where love, unconditional love, is the order of the day, and so forth and so on. So that is ultimately what we are all being called to do. It doesn't matter why we're being called onto this path. Spirit's agenda is to allow for more of that which is to be expressed and revealed, and spirit is love and joy and peace and harmony and wholeness and beauty and abundance and all of these. So that's our main charge. Just to let us know that this is what we're in for, this is what we've signed up for. I was having such a wonderful conversation with an individual yesterday, and we were talking about a sense, an aspect of manifestation, and we were talking about trust and surrender, and we were talking about the difference between willfulness and willingness. The former belongs to the egoic structures of fear and worry and doubt and a sense of separation. The latter belongs to a deep and profound trust, sense of trusting the allness, the goodness, and the perfection of this loving presence that is all there is. And as it was such a beautiful conversation, I feel inspired to share and to articulate the difference between willfulness and willingness. We've all been, I'm not going to say that we've all been told, but we have been given this free will, which allows us to think about anything we want to think, which allows us to turn our attention toward whatever we want to turn our attention to in any given moment, which allows us to make any choice in any given moment. Ultimately, which allows us to be free, right? And as we're moving towards something, we have our intentions, we have our visions, we have our dreams, we have our goals, or whatever, or whatnot. As we're moving toward that, we need to realize that manifestation is not something that we make happen. It is not our responsibility to make sure that whatever it is that we're moving toward, that it unfolds in the way it's supposed to be. We are not responsible for the manifestation. Yes, I absolutely know from both my own personal experience and from how I hear other individuals speak relative to manifestation and goals and visions and all of that it is so normal and it is quite easy for us to lean into want to micromanage, to lean into want to control, to lean into want to figure out how to get from point A to point B, or how to get from here to there. And so we lean into willfulness, which is where we lean into activities. We stuff our days with activities. We busy our minds with trying to come up with a perfect plan to make the manifestation happen, to make the demonstration happen. And I know for myself, one of my core beliefs back in the days was, and it's still lingering, I still become aware of from time to time, and I'm still hijacked by it from time to time. But it was, if I don't do it, it's not going to get done. So I believed that I had to make it happen. I believed that unless I went into the realm of doing and absolutely filled my calendar, absolutely stuffed every single moment of my day with this doingness, that it was not going to happen. This is willfulness. This is willfulness. And it arises out of a sense of separation. It arises out of a sense of not trusting the benevolence of this loving presence, out of a sense that life is against us. And so we need to fight for the good that we desire. We need to compete for it. And unless we get there first, we might not get there at all, right? So there's a sense of separation, there's a sense of lack, there's a sense of scarcity. Ultimately, it is us saying that the good that we desire, it's out there somewhere. It is in some future moment, and it is going to come to us from the world. The world is going to give it to us. But this is not how manifestation happens. First of all, if we just take a tiny step back and begin to witness and observe nature, and we can witness and observe the living biology that is our own bodies, we begin to realize that we are making absolutely nothing happen. We are not making our hearts beat. We are not circulating the blood. We are not making the breathing happen. We are not making the digestion happen. When we move, we are not making ourselves move. We just get up and move and trust that all the muscles and all the nervous system and all the systems in the body, that they work in conjunction, that they work intimately together so that we get to walk. But we're not making the walking happen. We set the intention to get from here to there, and then we just trust that we will get from here to there. But we're not trying to figure out how to get from let's say I'm sitting on a chair here, and let's say that I want to walk out this room. I don't need to figure out how to get myself off of the chair, how to raise myself up from the chair, and how to walk across the room and open the door. I do not need to figure that out. I trust that when I get there, when it's time for me to get off this chair, that I'll be able to. I trust that every step that I take, that everything needed for me to take that step is here, that it is now, that it's going to happen. But willfulness is making it happen. It is us trying to happen. It is us coercing, speeding up, as I said, busying ourselves. And this individual, I love how they said that, as we were sort of arguing about this, and they said that they brought up an analogy with a farmer tending to its fields. And they said that the farmer needs to tend to the field for the field to grow, right? And we got to have a conversation around the truth of this. Is it really true that the farmer needs to tend to their fields for the fields to grow? It is true in a sense that the farmer perhaps needs to fertilize, he needs to put pesticides or whatever they're called, these detergents or whatever, to keep weed from growing on the field. But left to its own, if the farmer had just planted, let's say, corn seeds, this particular farmer wanted to plant or is planting corn seeds on this particular field. Left to its own, these seeds would begin to grow on that field, even if the farmer never ever set foot on that field ever again, right? So the farmer is not making the corn plants grow to enhance the yield. The farmer is taking action to keep weeds out of the field, absolutely. But that's not making the cornfield or corn plants grow. If we look at nature, nothing in nature is making anything happen. And we've talked about this so many times. The apple seed is not making the apple tree happen. The acorn is not making the oak tree happen. The lilac seed is not making the lilac happen. There's no willfulness in nature. There's no sense that I need to make it happen. Not even like a squirrel that is gathering nuts for the winter. Not even it is making the gathering happen. It is just playfully running around looking for nuts. And when they find the nuts, they bury them, and apparently they forget most of these storages. So it is completely in a complete and deep and profound sense of trusting that all is well. And here is the distinction, here's the discernment, here's the difference between willfulness and willingness. So willingness is where we trust. We trust that its divine and perfect unfoldment is happening always. We do not need to figure out anything. We do not need to make anything happen. There's no rush. There's no hurry. We don't need to micromanage. We don't need to control. We don't need to manipulate. All we need to do is participate in that which is happening. Just as the acorn is participating in the unfoldment of the oak tree. And the beginning participation, the initial participation, is the acorn cracking itself open. Now, it's not cracking itself open. It's allowing for itself to be cracked open so that the shoots, so that the roots, so that the seedling may begin to emerge, right? But it's not making anything happen. So willingness is a trusting, peaceful participation in that which happens. Willingness, it gives birth to anxiety and stress and worry and fear and doubt. Because if we believe that it is up to us to make it happen, what if we miss a day? What if we miss this call? Or what if something happens that we don't have time to do what is on our agenda or to-do list or whatever the case may be? It means that we're falling behind, right? So there's a constant stress to show up, to make happen, to lean into activity. Willingness, there's a gentleness, there's a peace, there's an ease, there's a flow, there's a grace, there's a joy in allowing that which is happening to happen. It all comes back to trust. Being that first pillar of freedom. Trust and surrender, trusting that this loving presence is all there is, that it is always for itself, that it is always expressing itself perfectly. So we're trusting we're leaning into the 4 dimensions of trust. We're trusting the what, we're trusting the when, we're trusting the how, and we're trusting, not always relevant, but we're trusting the why. We're trusting that perfect unfoldment is always happening. Perfect timing is always happening. All of the seeds in nature, they know exactly, not instinctually or instinctively, because it's not an intellectual thing, but they are so in tune with this deep sense of trusting that unfoldment is happening. So that in the fall, when the leaves fall from the trees, as they do in some areas or some parts of the world, when the leaves fall from the trees do not go into anxiety. They do not have anxiety attacks because they're losing their leaves. But there's just a gentle yielding, embracing and allowing it to be, trusting that this is what needs to happen. Yes, I'm losing my leaves. I'm losing my splendor. I'm bared naked. But this is perfect. Perfect unfoldment is always happening. And from this sense of trusting that all is well, from this sense of trusting that something wonderful is happening, from this sense of trusting that everything is working for the highest good, which does not always mean that it needs to feel good. And this is all happening even when we can't see it, even if we can't feel it, it's still happening. So from that sense of trusting that God has got this, that everything is for us, that life is for us, there's such an ease and grace, there's such a beautiful flow that happens. Like when we're perhaps canoeing. Let's say that we have put our canoe into a stream, a big stream, with quite a rapid current. And we can either choose to paddle our way against the current, and there's a lot of effort, there's a lot of struggle, and we are barely making headway, right? Or we can turn the canoe around to go again, or to go with the current. And then we hardly need to move our paddles at all, other than just steering to keep our sense of direction. But the current carries us. And that's what happens when we surrender. That's what happens when we move into willingness. The flow begins to carry us. The manifestation begins to carry us. Our visions and intentions, they begin to pull us in such a beautiful way. So this is our intention, or this is our invitation for today, to become aware. Are we moving from willfulness, trying to make something happen? Or are we moving from willingness, allowing that which is already happening, that which is always happening, to emerge, to well up from within us, from the depth of our being? And the questions then are, how can I move myself deeper into trusting that all is well? What do I need to release and let go of for a higher level of willingness to emerge? What do I need to release and let go of to release and let go of the willfulness? What stories and beliefs am I holding on to pertaining to lack, scarcity, a sense of separation? What fears, worries, and doubts am I giving permission to run me? These are beautiful, powerful questions to ask, so that we may set ourselves free to move into willingness to allow for the manifestation to happen with such ease and grace, in divine and perfect timing and divine and perfect unfoldment. Thank you so much for tuning in. Please share. And until we meet again, I bless our days, and I bless our ways. Absolutely knowing that in this moment, in every single moment, all is well. Absolutely knowing that something wonderful is always happening. Absolutely knowing that everything is working for our highest good now, always, and forever. Until we meet again, much love.